stuff from this morning. I want to thank you all for having me back. I was here, I think, in August. It was only one service, so when Karen said, "Do you want to preach for me?" I said, "Oh, yeah, sure." She said, "Well, you know, we have an 8:30 service." Okay. I don't know what you're paying Karen, but she has much support here from the people who do the liturgy and the choir and everybody listed in the bulletin, and they've taken real good care of me. And I appreciate that, and I know that Karen will too. And I'm going to apologize to the choir because I'm not turning around when I'm preaching today, because this morning I went like this to look, and there was just the windows. So I'm not going to do that, so you'll just have to bear with me. As I was going through 956 emails last night, I realized that Kathy had sent me the bulletin and said, "If you have anything you want to do differently, just let me know." Well, the only one thing was that the scripture is going to be a part of what I'm talking about now, so that's why there was no scripture reading, but thanks for the attempt. This morning's reading from the Gospel of Luke is perhaps a lesser-known parable of Jesus. It's a story that, on the surface, seems to compare God with an unjust judge. We know that that is not so, so we need to look beyond the surface. Another thing that some people might think with only a surface glance is that if we pester God enough, that is, pray enough, yell enough, give enough, enlist enough others to do those things as well, that God will eventually grant our request. Again, that is a fallacy, and we must look deeper. Underneath all of this is the knowledge, the command to pray without ceasing. As the scripture says, we're called to be in prayer consistently, inviting God to share with us what God knows that we need. So as you listen to this scripture story, imagine to whom Jesus is telling this lesson. They are people who knew then, as even now in some places, that unmarried women were not allowed to leave the home with their father. Married women were not allowed to leave the home with their husband. Women were normally restricted to roles of little or no authority. Women could not testify in court. Women could not appear in public venues. Women were not allowed to talk to strangers. Women had to be doubly veiled when they left the house. Another thing we know is that this judge was not Jewish. He was put in place by Herod or somebody in Roman authority. He didn't draw a salary, but he depended on bribes. For the most part, men controlled the money, so guess who was able to bribe the judge? The widow of this story had only time and her voice to plead her case. She used the voice. I invite you to listen to me, with me, to the reading from Scripture this morning from the Message. Jesus told them a story showing that it was necessary for them to pray consistently and never quit. He said, there was once a judge in some city who never gave God a thought and cared nothing for people. A widow in that city kept after him, "My rights are being violated, protect me." He never gave her the time of day. But after this went on, he said to himself, "I care nothing what God thinks, even less what people think. But because this widow won't quit badgering me, I'd better do something and see that she gets justice. Otherwise, I'm going to end up beaten black and blue by her pounding." Then the master said, "Do you hear what that judge, corrupt as he is saying? So what makes you think God won't step in and work justice for God's chosen people who continue to cry out for help? Won't God stick up for them? I assure you, God will. God will not drag God's feet. But how much of that kind of persistent faith will the Son of Man find on earth when he returns? Let us pray. Someone's praying on Kumbaya. Someone's praying on Kumbaya. Someone's praying on Kumbaya. This story tells us more than one important thing, so we only have to remember like two things today. First of all, it tells us Jesus wants us to pray consistently without ceasing. Someone once said that action without prayer is violence. Prayer is important. Pray not because it changes God, but because it has the power to change you. Pray without ceasing. Another thing we learn from this parable is that justice is ours to seek on behalf of those for whom justice is elusive. Our journey throughout the Old Testament, and even as we've gotten into the New Testament, has taught us about our obligation to help those who, for a myriad of reasons, cannot help themselves. This is yet one more story about widows that Jesus told. He talked a lot about widows. He held them up as examples in a time when no one saw them as examples to be followed. Remember when Jesus praised the widow who gave her last bit of money, which according to Jesus was more than the wealthiest of men had given? She was a model of faithful generosity. The very first widow mentioned in Luke's gospel was named Anna. She was at on the temple steps when Mary and Joseph brought Jesus to be sanctified and circumcised after his birth. She was a prophet who spread the good news of Jesus' birth. And in his sermon in Nazareth, Jesus refers to the widow of Zarephath, who fed the prophet Elijah for what was to have been her last meal for herself and her son. So we come to the story in today's reading. This woman is disgruntled. Beyond that, she knows she will not receive justice unless she obtains it for herself. She has to stand up for herself because there's nobody else who's going to do it. That's what was meant by being a widow in Jesus' time. She complained about the injustice about to befall her. She complained loud and long, and eventually she prevailed. But her song might have started out with, "I can't get no satisfaction." What would happen if we applied her actions to the way we get customer satisfaction today? I read a story this week about someone who bought a vacuum cleaner. I'm sure it was a woman, a handheld one that had no suction. She was annoyed that the store would carry such a terrible product, but she didn't want to get in her car and drive all the way back there to do the exchange. So she researched online how she could return it and get her money back. And in that research, she came upon a website that told you how to write a complaint letter. I wonder if the widow had perceived any of these things that are now put down on the internet. Well, here's some of that advice. Find the right person to receive the complaint. Before lodging your complaint, be sure it's going to the right person. Get the name of the store manager or call the company headquarters and get the name of someone high up, even the president or the CEO. The widow knew not to start with the bailiff nor the court reporter, but to go straight to the judge. Don't write a rambling letter. Go right to the point. I ramble because I want them to know exactly what the problem is and how ticked off I am. But this website said, don't write a rambling letter, get to the point. You may have been given the runaround, but keep your tale of woe short and simple. The widow knew what she wanted. She kept it short and simple. My rights are being violated. Then she came back the next day and said to the judge, my rights are being violated. And she came back the next day and the next. In your letter, offer a clear solution. State what you want, what you'll settle for. The widow woman was clear about what she wanted. Protect me. That's the problem and the solution for her. It suggested we offer a time frame, like, hope to hear from you in the next 2 weeks. If I don't, I'll contact the Consumer Protection Agency with my complaint. The widow, of course, does not have this card to play. There is no one who will protect her. There's no Better Business Bureau. There's no agency set up to protect her. All she has is her determination, her outrage, and her persistence. Finally, be sure to include your contact information in your complaint letter. Address, phone number, email, name, all should be included because you don't want anybody to have to take time to track you down. They might not. If you want a favorable response, make it easy for them to give you what you want. The widow had no business card, no phone number, maybe even no fixed address. All she had was determination, persistence, and the will to seek justice day after day. Friends, all around us are people who have legitimate complaints and no way to demand that they be addressed. Like this widow, people in this world are finding no way to be heard because they lack social clout, power, the right accent, proper attire, formal education, social skills. That's where we come in. We who are called to be seekers of justice for those who cannot get it. We are called to walk the journey alongside those voices who will not be heard. We're called to be those who find a way to make visible those who society would hide from our eyes. We're called to be the mercy seekers, the light bearers, the good news proclaimers to all the world. Sounds like a lot, but it's also an honor to be called by Christ to do this work, and an honor to do it among other Christians who are also called. Let us pray. Keep talking to us, O God. Keep reminding us of those who need our help, who need to have their problems brought to light, who need to have someone to stand by them and be a friend. We pray this in Christ's name.